The following podcast does contain some mature language, and more importantly, at moments does contain some story spoilers for the main story questline of Final Fantasy XIV. While we do appreciate you listening to this podcast and listening to us share our experiences, we want you to have the best experience possible in the main story questline, and suggest that you complete it up through Shadowbringers before listening to this podcast. With that said, enjoy the show. From the many realms of Eorzea to the distant reaches of the Two Moons via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 2 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Saturday, November 27th of 2021, just a handful of days away from the unofficial launch of Endwalker, where the hardest boss fight is not against Xenos or Zodiac or even Hydaelyn, but rather the server queue itself. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and with me, as always, are my two wonderful co-hosts. First off, the proud cat mom of both real and virtual butterscotch. Hi, Meagan.
Hi.
You have another butterscotch now, and I think it's our other co-host is completely responsible for that.
Yeah, that was great. We finally all met up in game because I made my potato in Goblin where you guys are, and I was like, oh, I want to get a fat cat because it looks just like butterscotch. I went to the board and it was like really expensive, and then somebody just handed one to me.
It really wasn't that expensive.
And that somebody, the final part of our trio here, of course, is the youngest old man who is not only a member of the Cornbread Dressing Club, he's also the president. Hi, Brandon.
How's it going, folks? We are just days away from the end of, well, one expansion and the start of another, which is the end of something else entirely. So, in that spirit, I bid thee farewell again, my dear Shadowbringers, and now let us see how good a student we all truly have been.
And as I had mentioned last episode, we would have a guest this time around. And it's not exactly the guest that I expected that would be. That person will be coming around in the somewhat near future, but a guest we still have nonetheless. Straight and direct live from Meagan's own room. It's her other half, Ward. Hi, Ward.
How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's good to talk to you once again in a MMO podcast capacity.
It's been too long, yes.
Indeed, being the Ward who put the Wardcraft in Meagan and Wardcraft.
The other half.
The other half.
Wait, I thought Butterscotch was her other half.
Butterscotch is the manager, I think, right?
She's the queen of the apartment.
She's a Meowth to our rocket duo.
Nice.
There you go. Excellent. Well, like I said, we are a handful of days as you are listening to this. Since this does come out on a Wednesday, the soonest you can listen to this, we are 2 days away from early release of Endwalker, which, I mean, you might as well call that the launch of Endwalker, because really, who waits for the official launch when you can get in on Friday?
Yeah.
I don't know. Certainly not me.
So I guess I'll just kind of start off with, and Ward, I'll ask you first, being the guest and all and stuff like that. What have you been up to these past few days getting ready for it? It's like, I've talked to a few different people, and I hear some people doing a whole bunch of stuff in game to try to get ready for Endwalker. And then I also talked to several other people who are like, yeah, I'm not playing a whole lot of 14 right now because I don't want to burn out before Endwalker launches. So I'm curious what side of the camp you fall in there.
A little of A, a little of B. So I have had a couple of different things on my bucket list that I wanted to make sure I finished before Shadowbringers was over and we wandered our way into Endwalker. So a lot of that stuff was all about Bozja. And thankfully, since I enjoyed the heck out of Bozja so much, I was able to get a lot of those done pretty early. So I've been enjoying the last, I say, month or so. Just doing a couple of extreme primals, trying to get one or two more mounts, and then working on another little potato who's slowly working his way up through the Shadowbringers MSQ right now.
Digging his way up through the ground.
Mm-hmm. He's got his little head poking out. He hasn't gotten all the way out yet.
You're not going to talk about all the fates you've been doing to get your tombstone?
Oh my gosh. I was gonna keep that between you and me.
You're doing fates for a tombstone. I
try not to be completionist. I try, but every once in a while I got a wild hair at my butt and I have to figure out something I'm so close to completing. And it's that like, oh, you're almost there. You're 90% of the way there. There's only that last 10% you have to do. So Rowan, you mentioned seeing all the different fates you have to complete in each Shadowbringer zone. I'm like, oh, I wonder how close I am. I said, oh, I had finished 3 zones. And I'm almost finished with 2 more. I'm like, oh, I could just knock that out in an afternoon. No. No. I spent so much time in Rectica Woods just like listening to the music, vibing to the music, and then just waiting for a fate to spawn. Just like waiting.
At least on the bright side, you absolutely know Lahi now.
You know Lahi?
I do indeed know Lahi.
Lahi. Oh yeah. I was so happy that once I finally finished getting all the fate stuff with that zone, I was able to buy that Orchestron roll. It was like the last of my bicolored gemstones. I'm like, I definitely need to get this. This has to be playing in my mansion.
Really? Because I would never want to hear it again.
Oh man,
that's funny because
awesome.
We just finished Rectica on our potatoes, so that was fun. I'm really looking forward to doing all the Yulemore stuff because that's my favorite section.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Shadowbringers. The shit just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And my absolute favorite moment, obviously spoilers, is when Vothri sprouts the little wingies and flies off. I lost my shit the first time I saw that because Ward played ahead of me and he was watching me play it. And he's like trying not to like spoil it for me. But like, there's no way I could have guessed that was what was going to happen. I'm like, we're going to confront Vothri. There's going to be a big boss fight or whatever. I'm like, oh my god. Oh
right?
My god.
You would think the trial would be in like Yulemore itself, but nope.
Mm-hmm.
The way you said that reminds me of that one gif of those people on like Survivor where there's 2 people reacting in horror
yes,
and the third guy's just grinning like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yes. Pretty much exactly. My other favorite moment is when Emmett Silk shoots Graha in the back like we're on a freaking telenovela. Like a super dramatic moment that is like gunshot, and then like Graha falls forward and he's just like, here's my gun. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious right now?
Gunshot. It was at this moment he knew he fucked up.
The power of gun. I'm like, really, really, Ancient Ascian, you show up and your big play is just shoot a motherfucker.
Really, Graha? You didn't see that one coming, more like. God, I hate that cat boy sometimes.
I still love him.
Yeah, I know, but I just had to get one more shot in on the Husbando Wars, even though we're past that episode now.
Husbando Wars are forever.
Oh, the Husbando Wars never end. I mean, we may have had our skirmish on this podcast, but the wars will continue on. And by the way, I have been told that we have an official subscriber to our podcast. I mean, we got quite a few people who subscribe to the podcast, and by the way, thanks to everyone who has.
Yeah.
But specifically, the GM of my free company has subscribed to our podcast solely based on my choice for Husbando. I'm just saying so.
You mean the second worst pick? No, actually third.
You shut your mouth.
Never. Villains are for murdering, not kissing. I will die on this hill.
Yeah, because the villain's gonna shoot you.
I cannot wait for the Waifu Wars later on in this episode.
I don't know about that, because I'm pretty sure we talked about it a little beforehand. I'm pretty sure we all agree.
I never said who my pick was.
Oh,
I just said that mine was unconventional.
That is true. I forgot about that. Okay.
Well, I mean, you can't just have one waifu.
Well, True. I mean, you have to have best waifu, and then you have to have waifu in waiting. You know, the one who's trying to keep the other waifu on her toes.
I thought we just called those side chicks.
Oh my god.
Sure, but that's kind of derogatory, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Anything else that you have been up to, Meagan, along with leveling up Potatoes with Ward?
No, that's mostly been it. Other than that, I've been playing other games.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I mean, especially this time before an expansion launches, hug your other games, kiss them, let them know you love them very much, because you're going to be going away for a while, and you don't know when you'll be back.
My poor Animal Crossing villagers. They're literally going to be like, where'd you go for 3 months? I'm going to be like, who are you? How'd you get on my island? Smack them with my net.
I know a particular friend of mine who is playing the bejesus out of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the remastered ones that came out recently, and is quite grateful that Endwalker got delayed a couple weeks so that they could play Pokemon.
Yeah, I just got Red Dead Redemption 2 on Steam sale.
Ooh, nice.
So I've only played, I haven't even finished like the opening chapter yet. But yeah, I'm one of those people who likes play AAA games, but 3 to 5 years down the line when they go on Epic Steam sale.
Right? I mean, I'll totally play Cyberpunk 2077 in about a year or two.
Oh, we fell for that one.
What about you, Brandon? What have you been up to over the past week or so as Endwalker approaches ever closer?
Honestly, not a whole lot. My main goal has been the last thing I had on my checklist of pre-Endwalker stuff to do, which was get the Crafters and Gatherers on my first alt, my cat girl, up to 80. I don't really know why I did it, but I I accomplished it. It was like Meagan said. It was just, sorry, maybe that was Ward. It was just one of those things where it was like, oh, I'm up to level 40 and all of them, just kind of passively doing friggin' Ishgard restoration. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can grind this out. I spent so much gil just because I didn't want to farm the materials in the diadem. So much gil on just buying the materials, crafting stuff up, getting the levels, and saying, all right, let's go do the next round of leave quests. But they're all 80. It was the last thing I had on my checklist, and now I'm just kind of going, well, hurry up already.
I understand. My past couple weeks have been a mix of looking for role-playing opportunities and enjoying that, because the way I see it, my RP opportunities are going to be drastically cut, especially over the next few weeks as everyone's actually playing the gameplay part of the game. So been doing a bit of that, winning crazy amounts of gil at casinos, also losing crazy amounts of gil at casinos, but still coming out more or less ahead. And just today decided that, you know what? I only have one Disciple of the Hand at 80. Let's get another one to 80. In fact, let's just do it all today. So, I leveled an Alchemist from 1 to 80 in 6 hours.
Okay,
Holy
I have to ask how. Yeah, thank you.
So I did have leave quests available to do it. I did not spend all of my leave quests on it. I did leave quests once I hit 60. From 1 to, I want to say, 40, it was pretty steady, and I would just, I wouldn't craft the items needed for quest completion. I'd usually just buy them because they were cheap enough. So I'd use that to get through quests. I would just craft items that were relatively difficult to craft, like 5 levels higher than my current level. I did that all the way up to about 40 or 45. At that point, I think I switched over and did some custom deliveries, a round of custom deliveries. Once I hit 50, then I just had to do a few leave quests here and there, and got to 60, did a few more leave quests here and there, but more so buying the items for the leave quests rather than actually crafting them. So you might say I cheated, and I will agree. Yes, I absolutely cheated my way with leave quests to power level that character, but level it I did. And
you didn't do the restoration at all?
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I have still not done Ishgardian Restoration, and I don't think I ever will, because I think that'll disappear when Endwalker launches, right?
Don't know about that. I'm pretty sure they're going to keep the systems and the questing around just for, people who coming in late and want to level it up.
Oh, that'd be nice if they do.
There.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole, ranking system to determine, here's all the titles you can get. That's probably never going to happen again. But the system itself and the story associated with it, yeah, I doubt that's going anywhere.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just did mostly leave quests once I got to 50 onward, and stuff for those leave quests were really cheap. I think I'm now down to about 30 or 40 allowances. So as we're recording this, so I'll get another 40 allowances by the time Endwalker hits. So I'll be starting Endwalker with 80 allowances, which is not bad. And since I already had my Culinarian with full Land Saint gear and all that good stuff, I spent some white script, got the primary and secondary for an Alchemist, and now I have an Alchemist and Culinarian, both at max level, both with item level 497, and I did it in 6 hours.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
After that, and shortly before this podcast, I did what Ward has been doing for a while, and I played around in Bajja. I have my Red Mage has been using Bajja as a way to level. The Red Mage is now at 74, and I am rank 8 with the Resistance. And in one of the strong boxes that I opened today, I opened up the strong box, and it was a key to a Gabriel Alpha mount, and I'm like,
you got it. Nice. Yes, dude.
I was like, I put a screenshot in my FC, and I'm like, guys, what is this, guys? Is this super rare? Is this a $10 million mount? And they're like, no, it's rare. It's not 10 million, but it's still a pretty cool mount. And I didn't realize what this thing was like when you used it as a mount. And then when I used it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It's essentially like a, think Transformer Robotech-ish kind of magic tech that transforms, and when you're riding it, you're sitting on top of it. But if you use it in flight mode, it almost looks like you're inside of it or on top of it, and it's kind of like an extension of yourself, so it's like a flight suit or whatever. It's just pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about that mount is that it has a different little animation of transforming when it lands, or when it's when you're jumping up to leave to go from land to flight. So it has a little transforming animation too that just makes it even more cool. Those things are awesome.
Oh yeah. So
I actually have 2 of those across my various characters, and I won
Did you
neither of
win?
them. I won neither of them in Bajja. Both of them were given to me.
Yeah, Ward gave me mine, and we were literally just in Bent Branch Meadows, going up, going down, going up, going down. Transform, whoop, go back down. It was really fun.
And also in my very last strong box, right before logging off to come over and do this, I got a Scarlet Phoenix minion, which is really nice color coordination with Red Mage. So
very
I have
cool.
a new pet.
Awesome.
Mentioned thematically appropriate with Summoner, just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah, Phoenix and Fiery and then all that. So that Scarlet Phoenix, now, I haven't done a whole lot of digging, but I've heard names brought up here and there, and I know that there's some Final Fantasy XI tribute stuff when it comes to Bajja and all that. So there is, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a Suzaku and a Byakko in this game, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And they are and that's part of Bajja?
No, it's part of the you know how every expansion has a trial series where it's a story based around 3 trial fights?
Yes.
They're part of the trial series for Stormblood.
Yeah, they're basically,
so they're the warring triad of Stormblood. Gotcha.
Pretty much, yes.
Correct.
yeah, they're they're like gods Okay, it's like a Japanese myth.
Auspices, yes.
So it says you have to fight them to take out their bad energy. It's a really fun storyline to do. You get to do it with Daughtaru. That's the one I was going off about the other day. And yeah, that was kind of the first time I really got into raiding, was doing that on my bard before we had immunity knockback.
Also, fun fact, they recently added craftable weapons that have nifty glows that are themed for each of the 3 bosses in that series.
Are there red glowy weapons for Suzaku?
Wait, I have some of those, I think. Is that the one with the black and white ink thing that swirls around it?
The Byakuya weapons have like lightning and a black like stripe that kind of swirls around it.
Ooh.
I have the axe on my Fembro and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I think I have the tome on my summoner, but I'm not...
The only sad part is that they don't have Gunbreaker or Dancer weapons, and I'm very upset about that.
Yeah. Dancer would be really cool.
Agreed.
The swirly bits.
It'd be kind of cool if they retroactively added in weapons for some of the newer classes to those fights.
It would be, but it doesn't seem likely. I think going forward they're going to focus on the Shadowbringers trials and adding craftable glowy versions of the weapons from those fights. Right. Which is to say, the weapons, give them to me, like from the weapon trials, please. Yes. Do I want an emerald weapon glowy thing for each of my classes? Yes, I do.
Ruby weapon, yes, please.
Also that.
So yeah, that's basically been me over the past week, just doing a little bit of this and that. And it's funny because I've been in 14 a lot, but haven't really been doing a whole lot of gameplay stuff because, like I said, I'm doing the activities that I know I'm not going to be doing for a while I'm busy with MSQ. So my treasure maps are going to be collecting dust, whichever are remaining after tonight, because I don't know if AIE is going to be doing maps tonight or not.
We are.
Okay, great. I have like 2 or 3 guaranteed portal maps left. I haven't been running duty roulette every day now anymore, so I'm not getting all those maps I used to be getting, but it is fine. I'm almost mapped out. I'm ready for new maps in January. Alrighty. Well, so with Endwalker being a few days away, there's definitely some things that we can do. We can take a look back at Shadowbringers. We can make predictions about who's going to die before 6.0 ends. We can even possibly give you some advice for people who are doing a Final Fantasy XIV expansion for the first time from ground zero and haven't been here for this kind of thing before, which is advice that I could definitely use. But before we get to all of that, there's something far more important, and that, of course, is the Waifu Wars.
Oh,
so,
here we go.
Previously, on A Podcast Reborn, we talked about who our husbando picks are.
Oh, word, what's your husbando pick?
My husbando pick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-oh. I'd say it, but it's Justinian.
I knew it.
Acceptable. Well
I mean, technically he is sort of like a villain that becomes a hero. So he has that arc.
Considering that your main is a dragoon and you've like dressed up as him for like 3 expansions.
Didn't have to know that.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. He is a good choice.
Oh, what's that? So, Brandon, you're okay with someone who ends up being a villain at some point? Yeah.
He's not really a villain.
Oh, are you sure about that?
Oh, really?
At one point, I really
murdered?
remember fighting him and actually having to fight him in a trial, Brandon.
He wasn't a villain. He was corrupted by Nidhogg. Come on.
Yeah, and what if MXL is, kind of corrupted and misunderstood? Have you ever thought about that, Brandon?
He called me a mistake.
Maybe he was corrupted when he called you a mistake.
Maybe he was. We'll
Aren't we all mistakes? Really?
All right. Well, it's a fair choice. It's a decent choice, but I still stand by my own, and I'm sure we all stand by our own there. But now, for the all-important Waifu Wars, I already kind of know a couple of the answers before we go into this, so I'm going to go with the answer that I don't know about yet. Ward, who is your waifu pick? Who is your waifu in the Waifu Wars? Who do you stand by through thick and thin that will take you to the end of days?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with, I think, what is going to be like a unusual choice, and I'm going to have to go with Kryle. Because like Kryle's been with us, maybe not from the beginning, but she's been there as like the shepherding hand through a lot of these X-Packs, and especially if you ever did the Eureka storylines, like she's there throughout all of that as well.
Bold choice, but I have to agree, she is pretty great.
And she's really cute too. I have her outfit. she's another Lalafell that cosplays as a cat girl, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I did not think about that. I will say that of most of the Lalafell characters in the game, because of her voice acting in the English version and just the way she kind of carries herself, she comes across sounding more mature than most Lalafell come across sounding, and it's really hard to have that disconnect sometimes. And like when you see a Lalafell character and remember, okay, most of these Lalafell characters are adults and such like that, but it is really hard to see them that way, especially ones that have certain voices or speak a certain way. With Kryle, it's easier to see her as, you know, just another character.
Which is funny because she has like the cutest outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But she's the most mature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Okay, that is a more interesting choice than my choice is going to be. But Meagan, who is your choice in the Waifu Wars?
Well, everybody knows this. I'm the cat girl stan forever. So it's got to be Y'shtola. She's my favorite by a lot. And I just did Rectica Greatwoods, which is also a big Y'shtola storyline. And her slapping Oriange in the ass, I was just like, yeah, that's my girl.
And note to our listeners, if we get 400 more people who subscribe to this podcast feed, I have been told that Meagan will be getting Y'shtola a body pillow. So,
oh my god. I mean, I don't even need encouragement, but I'll just take the pillowcase and put it over Ward.
Oh man.
Oh wow, that went places I did not expect. Okay. All right, Brandon, who's your pick in the Waifu Wars?
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have one pick that I go with overall. There's a lot of great ladies in this game. I mean, there's Y'shtola. She's brilliant. She's gorgeous. And she has no qualms about telling someone that she's not interested, little son. Try again when you become a man. There's Lise, who I will unapologetically defend with my life. Forever because she is great.
Okay. Everyone, just for the record, you can send your emails to apodcastreborn@gmail.com if you disagree with that. No, I'm kidding.
Go right ahead. Lisa.
No, quick aside here, okay? But about that, you make a good point. I have heard so many content creators and other people like bag on Lise like there's no tomorrow. I don't think that Lise is an amazingly deep character, but I never thought of Lise as being a bad character.
People are just salty because they liked Ida. And honestly, I like Ida more, but she just had a goofier, funnier, stronger personality, and I like the bubbly fighter type.
I mean, that's just it. We've never known Ida. We've only known Lise pretending to be Ida with terrible voice acting.
Okay, somebody didn't come up in Gridania.
What are you talking about?
When you just do the Gridania starting quest, you get to hang out with Ida and Papalymo.
No, she's dead by that point. She's dead.
No, she's not. She dies at the end of Realm Reborn.
No.
Yes.
I'm telling you, you've got the story backwards. She dies before they ever meet up. That's always Lise.
No, Ward. You're like the super lore nerd. Do you know this?
This is beyond me. All I can say for Elise is that the only reason I'm not a fan is just from the juxtaposition going from Heaven's Word into Stormblood and like having the Caute Fortante. Like introducing all the different zones as you're going into there gave it such more gravity than Lise being like, oh yeah, this is really cool. I liked it.
Yeah, Lise just does not come off as like a leader, which is what they're really trying to push her as. But I just do not see like a group, like an army of giant Highlander men behind her. And also when she's like, oh, you've never met a Highlander before? I'm like, girl, you don't got no thighs. I don't believe you're a Highlander.
That's fair. I really enjoyed her character arc through Stormblood. And I think the character development that she underwent during the course of that expansion was really, really fun. And, to cap it off with, all right, hey, I'm going to wear this absolutely gorgeous dress. That's like, it's my sister's, but I'm not pretending to be her anymore. I don't know. That whole thing just resonated with me. And I really felt bad for her when, like I alluded to at the top of the podcast, when Papa Limo, kind of had to sacrifice himself to contain Shinryu. And yeah, I don't know. I don't get the hate for Lise. I think she's a really fun character, and I don't know. I'll always defend her because I think she deserves it.
I think that she just gets all the ire for the Meagan storyline being kind of not as cool as we'd hoped.
That is entirely fair.
There's a lot of projection there, yeah.
Because it's been built up for so long. It's been built up since, the very beginning of Realm Reborn. You're hearing about Meagan refugees and about how cool Meagan used to be. And then, like, we get there and it's just kind of, it's okay, I guess. And, like, Lise is like, she's okay, I guess. And we're like, no, it should have been cool.
To be fair, the dungeons in Alamigo are two of my favorites.
While you've been discussing this, I've looked at a couple of different wikis just to get confirmation on this. I was one who tended to agree with Brandon on as far as the whole timeline and stuff, and that does appear to be the case. So as far as like the events of Final Fantasy XIV in before Realm Reborn, if you're the main character during 1.0, the adventurer would meet quote-unquote Ida in the year 1572, while they had encountered the real Ida before via echo visions of the year 1562. They were unaware that the Ida that they had encountered in their vision had passed during the intervening years. So the original Ida passed in prior to 1.0. So the Ida in A Realm Reborn was Lise the entire time.
Oh my gosh. Well, then why doesn't she stay fun?
It's a good question.
She does stay fun. She just has like an actual good voice actress after that.
Well, there's that, and also I think when Lisa's trying to be Ida, she's like trying to kind of channel who she envisioned her sister as being, and then when she dropped that pretense, she just allowed herself to be herself, which is not necessarily her sister. So
I have a soft spot for hyperactive gremlin fighters, and that was Ida. And then Lisa's like, no, I'm actually pretty chill, and I'm like, boo.
Fair enough.
All right.
I'm also just to wrap up my waifu choices, I'm also a very, very big fan, pun not intended, of the Admiral Merlvib. And I gotta say, one dark horse candidate I gotta give it to is someone who frankly did not get a fair shake in this game's storyline, and that's Moon Burrito.
Yeah.
She did not need to die. That was a waste of a character potential.
Yeah. That was a pretty textbook fridging. And then, like, Ariaja is like, I doth be very saddeth. And we were like, shut up, Ariaja.
So, of all the names that the three of you brought up, you have not brought up my choice for waifu.
No, this ought to be good. Who do you got?
And I mean, of all the names that have been brought up since we started recording, so not Daughtaru, not anyone else that you've brought up. So now, I want to play a game with the three of you and see if you can figure out who my choice for waifu is. Meagan, go.
Not someone we mentioned, like, at all?
It's not been a single person that has been mentioned by name since we hit record.
Do we get any clues?
No.
Oh, dang it. Come on, man. This is an MMORPG.
It is a character that is prominent during a portion of the main story questline.
Okay. Is it Serena?
No.
Julia Chai.
No.
Sadu?
We mentioned.
No. I think that's. I think that's a guess from all three of you. So, my choice is actually Ysayle.
Oh, yeah. I can tell about her, not gonna lie.
Ysayle, a.k.a. Iceheart, a.k.a. Shiva.
Yeah, that's
AKA
a good one.
had good hate fuck energy with Estinian.
Yeah, true.
I really thought they were going to get together, but like honestly, those two characters were just too suicidal.
Yeah. But
That's kind of a problem with Final Fantasy characters, is that they're all like, is this my chance? Can I nobly sacrifice myself? I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna fucking do it! We're like, whoa, dude, bro.
Well, she was leading a freedom fighting force for like forever. So.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think it was also that her dragon husbando imaginary boyfriend was like, no, you're not Shiva. You don't know anything about real Shiva. You're a fake dragon girl. And she was like, oh, no.
You had to feel bad for her when her reality got shattered like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, well, one thing left for me to do. Noble sacrifice it is.
Time to go out in a blaze of glory.
I mean, to be fair, she did also, like, help put a stop to the Dragon Song War, at least with the heretic side, before she did that.
Mm-hmm.
And
She's great. And she's gorgeous. She has amazing hair. I wish they let us have that hair model.
and that moment at the end of fighting Nidhogg when you see Ysayle and you see Haurchefant and
Yeah, that got to me.
Why was I watching that cutscene? I must have been watching a Let's Play or something.
Oh no, I was going through.
You were doing it. That's right, because he leveled up his potato from scratch.
No boost for me.
I boosted. He did not. And I was watching him play it, and I'm like, oh, good thing so many of our friends died.
Does that make him a mashed potatoes from scratch?
I mean, eventually. I just think it's funny that you get Nidhogg's eyes, and then you just throw him off the bridge. You don't even throw him off opposite sides of the bridge. You're just like, later. Like, there's a bottom, guys. It's not actually infinite. They're going to hit the ground and then bounce together. Then we're going to get another Nidhogg. Like, come on.
Come on now. Who would possibly go down there and fetch those eyes and use them as a plot device for a future expansion? Come on.
I don't know.
That also is a roiling mass of lightning and wind aspected ether. Going down there for anybody that is, even slightly mortal is a death sentence.
Too bad we don't fight anybody who's, like, immortal. Who can go down there and get it. I just, I don't know. I thought it was funny. And it was just like, and that takes care of that. I'm like, guys. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I've just seen Aymeric take a lot of guff for that decision. I'm like, guys, come on. He has no reason to believe that getting anything remotely down there is anything but a death sentence for anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't entirely his decision. Warrior of Light was there too. Warrior of Light could have gone the opposite way. Could have been like, whoa. Although my favorite moment from that is the studio being like, yeah, I got one, pass me the other. And I'm like, I remember when it happened, I'm like, isn't that a bad idea? And then he's like, oh, I'm like, God damn it, Estinian.
Well, it feels like the Waifu Wars weren't necessarily as violent as the husbando. I don't know.
Nobody chose a villain, and apparently that's the big.
Hey, Ward chose a villain.
What?
Ward did choose a villain.
The Waifu Wars?
No.
Wars.
For the Waifu Wars, yeah. I'm confused. Yes, no, he
Fine,
did not choose a villain.
Then I will. Oh God, I will take Yotsuyu as my waifu. Fight me.
Okay.
No thanks, I'll fight her instead.
Right?
She's a tragic character.
She is.
She definitely is.
And she's super hot. That's all you need. It's like, she's evil, but it's sad. And she'll step on you. That's all we need.
Well, and also you could also say that Iceheart may have not been a villain, but she was definitely an antagonist for a portion.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Look, if Yotsuyu hadn't been manipulated by her gross-ass family and by Asahi, she would not have gone primal on us, and she probably would have been redeemed after spending so long as Suyu. So double tragedy.
My skin just kind of...
mentioning Asahi?
Yes.
I hate that guy so much. I love if Daniel showed up with his face. I'm like, what could be the most obnoxious? What's a good way to make me hate a villain instantly? Ah, yes.
Got him. He nailed it.
Give him the body of the winner of FF14's Most Punchable Face Award.
Indeed.
Got it in one. Well, looking back at Shadowbringers and main story quest line and all the post stuff leading up to Endwalker here. By the way, that is another thing I forgot to mention really quick. I did Death Unto Dawn just the other day. So I got to do the whole end of that and the fights. That last duty was pretty cool where like you fight at Cartano and you have all these like mini fights where you're playing as different scions going up against primals and stuff. It was pretty rad.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
This is why I'm leveling the potato. Because I'm like, it's been a while since I did Shadowbringers.
So not to derail what you're trying to get to, Ro, which is I know you want to talk about what our favorite moments of Shadowbringers are. Yeah. I would like y'all's opinion. How do you feel about duties where you have to be another character? Because I've seen those get a lot of hate.
I think it's fine when it's used sparingly and when it's used for like a really dramatic moment. Like I really liked the one where you play as Thacred and you're fighting Ranjit because I legit thought that he died, and I thought that this was like a really good way for me, like us as the player, to witness it without our character having witnessed it.
Yeah,
but I think it works really well for certain story beats. I'm not a fan of it in general. I think it should be used sparingly.
Agreed.
And it should really be used for like, no, you need to know this, but like there's no reason the Warrior of Light would be there.
Yeah, just another meanwhile in Garlemald.
Meanwhile in the Imperial City.
Meanwhile,
I really enjoy them. I really enjoy them, but I just... You got to give me some good buttons to push. Like the one where you're playing as Alphino is kind of blah. The one where you're playing as Hien and fighting Xenos ? Is just dreadfully boring because they give you the 4 worst buttons to push as Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that Ro just did, I found to be extremely fun just because they give you like really like almost iconic, but not actual buttons associated with those jobs. That I just found that entire experience to be extremely enjoyable.
Oh, LSA is so much fun.
Simplified it. They would have to simplify it more than the PvP setup, but like shorten all the combos into like one button.
They absolutely did.
Rotate them like that makes it a lot better. But yeah, when it's just literally like attack, heal, it's like, oh my gosh. So back in my World of Warcraft days, I was mostly a hunter and then a shadow priest. So my strategy for everything, especially as a summoner, is to just throw dots and run in circles.
You've got less than a week left to enjoy that.
I know. I was fighting Ranjit in Lakeland, and I'm literally just like this little potato going around the edge.
I did that too. I did that too as a summoner against Ranjit.
Oh my god.
I just threw up dots and ran, and that was a long fight.
Yeah. Well, you do get some...
You can't actually win it.
I know, but you see, at the time, when I did it for the first time, I didn't realize that it was scripted like that. So for me, I'm like, okay, if this is the way to do it, this works, all right. And then when I find out scripted, oh no, that he's not meant to die, then it's like, well, damn it. I just wasted time.
Like, Thacred is like the king of cool anime moment. He's like, let me bust in with my sword and do a flip, and then slice through him and land behind him, and then go like, ugh. Yeah, that's...
Don't forget Strike from the Shadows and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's always got to do a flip. That's like... Yeah. He's such a nerd, but he's trying so hard to be cool. I just think, like, that's Thacred's dad energy. Just that he's like, hello, it's me. I'm totally cool. And everybody's like, oh, Lord.
But he can't use ether, so it's okay.
No. Yeah, you can't make fun of him. Or like, that's not cool.
as the actual dad in the room, I'm trying not to be hurt by this.
All right. Well, going on to the next topic really quick here. As far as Shadowbringers go, I'm kind of curious, as we now look ahead toward Endwalker, for each of us, what our favorite moment in the story was, or just the favorite memory of playing in the game. I'm going to say mine first for this one, and that was... It was probably the end of 5.3.
Damn it,
The whole... I'm sorry. But the whole Warrior of Light thing coming to a head there, and I kept myself pretty spoiler-free of all this stuff. So I played all sorts of different Final Fantasy games. Of course, playing 14, I've ran into a number of different references from past games, and they would borrow this and that and the other thing. And, of course, the term Warrior of Light has been with us for, the whole freaking game. Never did I think that they would actually use the original OG Final Fantasy I Warrior of Light for a trial. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, that's freaking cool. And just that, and then the series of cutscenes, it just kind of putting a bow on the Shadowbringer story proper. Probably the best hour and a half of Final Fantasy XIV I played right there.
Is that the cutscene with Alize with her face on the table?
Yes.
I love that one. I love that whole scene. Ariane just being a huge dork. Graha showing up and being adorable. It's the best. And then Alize jumping into the sky to go fight something.
Go fight hippogriffs. Yes.
My personal favorite is when Urianger is like referring to Y'shtola as the avatar of destruction, and me standing there as a black page going, what the actual hell, dude?
He has a favorite, okay?
Like, I know she's pretty and all, but come on, I'm right here.
Look, you don't dom him. She does.
Oh, God. I'd believe that for Moon Burrito, but I'm not sure I'd buy it from Y'shtola.
What was that ass slap then? She's like, Ariane, paint me a picture with your words. And he's like, gives this long poetic speech about the night sky. Then she's like, good job, ass slap.
Fair enough.
Is there anything you wanted to add as far as that goes, Brandon, since I did steal your moment there?
Yeah, I mean, that was, probably by far the best ending to an MMO storyline I've ever experienced in my life. But I mean, there's plenty of other moments, in Shadowbringers I could talk about. I mean, frickin' Tesleen, anybody?
Oh, God.
That was horrifying to watch. And then I think the other moment I had that just made me go, what the hell? Oh my God, this is so cool. Oh, we're fighting now, is when Emmett Selk reveals his true identity, that he's Hades. And I'm like, wait, as in, oh dear God. And then I just had all these flashbacks to the Hades summon in Final Fantasy VII and how often I took advantage of it because it was great. And I'm going, oh hell. I'm glad I'm not a healer. I have a feeling I'm going to be using Isuna a lot. And it turns out, okay, maybe it's not quite that thematically tight, but still, it was great.
Awesome. Meagan, how about you?
I already said my favorites, all the Yule more craziness. I just love Jim Cummings, the voice actor for Valkyrie. If you
was Jim Cummings?
Yes,
that was Winnie
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he
That's
also did
crazy.
He also did Lore Walker Cho in World of Warcraft. Yeah, he's great. He's excellent. He did Valkyrie so well. And
I had no idea.
That's my favorite moment in the whole game is when he's throwing his huge tantrum and then he literally just sprouts the tiniest little wings and just and I love the dungeon that comes after that. I love the pride fight. I love all of it. It was great. And I love the cutscene after it where it's all like dramatic character and then we get to see Graha's face for the first time and he's like sad and crying and like, I love you, but I must go. And you're like, no. And then he gets fucking shot. When it happened, I was literally like, "What?" I I love that whole bit. It's just so I love it when things just get crazier, 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 and like that. I love oh shit moments in all media, TV shows, movies, games, and I feel like the whole Vothri Yulmar storyline is just so full of oh shit moments. But I also really love that ending cutscene where everything wraps up. It's so cute and it's so well animated.
Honorable mention for an oh shit moment, but in a good way from Shadowbringers, is when you beat Titania, and then I'm forgetting her name. Her Fail-Ul. When Fail-Ul becomes the new Titania, I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, I also really like the Titania fight. Or I know everybody hates the music and they say the fight's too hard, but I don't know. I really enjoy it. And I think the weapons that come out of it are super cute.
I don't know anybody who hates that music. That's great music.
I know. Well, people are like, this music means pain. Because I'm going to whine a bunch.
You hear the techno version of that music in more RP bars and dance clubs than any other place. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ward, how about you? What was your favorite Shadowbringers moment?
Ooh, yeah. And that's the thing. Is like, I think the honorable mention definitely has to be the culmination of the 5.3 and seeing the Warrior of Light. I think that like finding out later what Soken was going through when he was writing the music for that just makes to the limit just like that much more, and like pulling the heartstrings kind of stuff. I think the part of the MSQ that I enjoyed the most probably would have been the final capstone quest of like after you climb up the gigantic mountain using the gigantic golem that you just built, and then you beat Vothri, and then you realize, oh wait, there's this whole other place we've never even explored yet, and like going to the Tempest, and then finding Amuro, and being like, oh wait, this is the city that everyone lived in, and then you get to see all those different side quests. I did every side quest in that tiny little place. Just getting to see what the ancients and their culture was like was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. The whole storylines, there's only one part of all of Shadowbringers that we don't like, and that's the fucking trolley. Which we're now Ward is on the trolley part. Did you get past it now?
Oh, I'm still in the middle of it. I had to take a break.
Yeah. I'm about to go back there. I really like the ending of that. I love like Reen picking her name and Thancred and Ranjit fighting over who's the best daddy. And all of that. But I really, the whole like, my wife died and now I'm an asshole. I'm like, cool. Please shut up.
Yeah, pacing wise, that was probably the roughest part of the story, for sure.
The fact that it only has like one quest line that I'm not jazzed about is pretty great for an entire expansion.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, we've gotten that out of the way.
Also, bro, before we go forward, I just want to get this out there before we get tons of emails about it. I have confirmed that Jim Cummings is in fact not the voice actor for Vothri. His voice actor is a guy named Edward Doliani.
Oh my god! And wow, he sounds just like him.
Yep.
Well, now I feel silly. Oh well, still my fave. Don't worry, he's not his bando. Maybe in his pretty form.
In innocence form.
Yeah. He's kind of a tragic character, but only in the fact that like he's so irredeemable, but he was that way from birth and he was like made that way.
He was groomed to be that way.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you feel bad, but it's like, I still gotta put you down like old Yeller. You vicious bastard. I don't know,
Doesn't remind
fun.
me of anybody else at all. Cough, Emmett Selk, cough.
No, he's different than Emmett Selk. Well, I think that the Vothri is just so entitled and so like he's been raised to like never have to work or have anybody say no to him for anything. So he literally like loses his shit if anybody even like mildly says no to him. And I don't like that in a villain, that he's so childish, but at the same time so threatening. Like that's scary. Like immaturity in a villain with a lot of power is really threatening because it's like, you can't really reason with this guy.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. We have come to that moment. where we have another game to play.
Oh boy.
And that is to guess who's not making it out of 6.0, because I'll tell you right now, when they show you that launch trailer, you get to the very end of it, and they do what I've been told in anime is called death flagging. when they show pictures and such, and when a character says a line that is obviously foreshadowing of something bad about to happen.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they're really death flagging Alphino there, that Alphino may be taking an L by the end of 6.0.
Well, I think that they really like to fake us out with the death flags, because like Thancred was covered in death flags. Like, oh, my love for Menphilia, I have accepted that I will not see you again, and I have made peace with baby Menphilia, and it's okay, and blah blah blah. And I was like, ah, he's dead. Nope. And then Yashola cannot go 2 X-Packs without throwing herself, into the live stream. So I think that I'm sure that they will probably kill someone off. I don't think we can predict who it's going to be, or if we do, it'll be like a totally random guess, because they're really good at faking us out. And like, who would have guessed that like Halfshot was just going to step in front of that thing and die? Like,
not me.
Nobody. Like, it's just so random, and it's so like, no, why? But yeah, they're really good about making main character deaths like poignant, but I do think we are probably going to lose someone. I hope it's not Alphino, just because I like Alize a lot. That would make her very, very sad.
Well, it's going to be a reverse bridging then. They kill Alphino just because.
Like St. Pathos.
Oh man.
Well, and it might be something crazy, like he gets, like Menphilia or something, like, oh, I'm technically dead, but I also live in the crystal, and I can never see you again. But I'm watching over you.
Or he like, goes to the dragon planet or something.
Yeah. That's fuck. Alphino would totally do that. He'd be like, I must go parlay with the dragons. Bye.
Well, I mean, he already tried to go to Garlemald.
All right. So this is what I want everybody to do. Even if you don't necessarily believe it a heck of a lot, just to make the call and to see if you end up surprising yourself, I want each of us to pick 3 characters that you feel are most likely to get hit and die. It doesn't necessarily mean that all 3 are going to, but amongst all the characters, and it doesn't have to be just Scions, there can be other important characters too. Could be Grand Company leaders. I mean, if you want to go with Ralban or anything like that, feel free. So Ward, as our guest here, I'll let you pick 3 characters first. Who you think are the 3 most likely to not make it out of 6.0 alive?
Well, I feel like Alphino is definitely the most likely. Even if it's like obvious flags, he's definitely had like the most character development. And so you could say like, oh yeah, he's grown and matured as a character. And so like you could say like his character arc is over. I feel like the next person who's probably most likely, would probably be Orianger, just because he's also had that same sort of arc, or it's like he's had 2 different expansions where he's had to play the villain in secret from the shadows, and so he's had to learn and grow from that. But if I want to give you my true guess of like who's definitely gonna die, just because I could not see them living another X-Pack, and everyone's going to be like, oh, wait, that's right. He lived up until now. I forgot about him. It's Hori Boulder.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure Hori Boulder's going to fight it, and like the rest of his party is going to be really sad.
I mean, that's fair. He's had a very in-depth arc, and a lot of great stories told about him and his companions. And I think especially when you consider all the atrocities that he committed, I mean, he may have been able to redeem himself from them, but Hori Boulder, that's great.
Oh Lord.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm having you stick by those then. Brandon.
I gotta agree with Ward on one of his picks. I think that if we're gonna pick a Scion to die, I think Alphino, they're basically just yanking our chain. I think the most likely person among the Scions to die is going to be Urianger. I can absolutely see him basically like throwing himself in front of something meant for Alphino and Alize, kind of just, I'm sorry for all of the secrets and, the lies I've done that have unintentionally hurt you guys. But don't feel bad for me. I'm going to go be with Moonbrita now. Maybe this may be influenced by the fact that I just talked about, Moonbrita, and I would like them to bring her back into the story a little bit, even if, posthumously.
Oh, well, they are going back to Charlene. So maybe he'll be like looking at her things, sadly.
Oh, what if the Warrior of Light has an echo vision of both of them?
Oh, that's going to be so sweet and heartbreaking at the same time. I don't think Fortuno is making this out of this expansion alive. I think the twins' dad is a second likely candidate to sacrifice himself to protect his children.
Yeah, I think because he like showed up and was a dick to be like, stay away from Charlie and some fuckery is happening.
Yeah, I don't buy that disowning thing for a moment. I think he was basically trying to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's not going to work because they're Scions and we jump headfirst into danger because we're psychos. I think if I have to pick a third character that I'm not sure is going to make it out, I mean, aside from all the obvious villains, because I'm going to make sure Xeno stays in the ground this damn time, that's for sure. I would not be shocked to see Gaius bite it.
I wouldn't either.
But that's a good call.
I'm sure it'll be really cool. Maybe it'll be with his adopted kid, like the one that lived.
Oh yeah,
the single one that lived. God, I hate that story so much. A lot of people are like, oh, he's going to become the new emperor and he's going to redeem Garlemald. I'm like, I don't know that there's much of Garlemald left to redeem. I'm pretty sure most of its citizens are either tempered or dead.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised to see Gaius end up dead by the end of Endwalker.
Yeah, we could fix. It's just a little bit light tempering. We can fix that.
We can fix that.
Just buff that right off.
We got some piggies.
Assuming they haven't warped their bodies beyond measure.
Oof.
Now, those are my predictions. If you want my wishful thinking pick, Gratia.
I will end you.
Get off this show.
Honestly, can I do mine?
Yes.
I think Graha is a bit in danger because I don't know. He's one of those like we've almost lost him so many times. I don't know. I think it's like one of those like it could go either way. They could either be like, no, we've threatened him with death so many times we can't do it again.
I feel like Graha's the future of the franchise in terms of like characters that you buddy with in the next story arcs.
And he's so merchandisable.
Yeah.
All the fangirls love him. My main pick, though, is actually Thancred. And what I think is going to happen is that, like, Reed and Gaia are going to show up in, like, an interdimensional spaceship, and they're going to be, like, aged 10 years. And they're going to be, like, total badasses. And, like, Thancred's going to be like, they don't need me anymore. And then have, like, an existential crisis over it. But then, like, they need him because they're going to die. And then he dies to save them. And then he's like, my life had meaning because I was like your father. Bleh. And I got over Minfilia. That's my prediction.
I can absolutely see that, but I can also see the opposite, where it's like, okay, yeah, Thancred's not going to die for the exact same reason Grahatia probably won't, because we've almost lost him a few times, and it would just be kind of like repetitive, I guess.
I think that Thancred and Y'shtola are both kind of on third times the charm when it comes to fake out deaths. So I think it might be time's up for one of those two. The thing is that if Y'shtola actually dies, we're not going to believe it when it happens.
Yeah.
Because she's like the face of the franchise. They made a ball-jointed doll out of her. She's very much. She has all the figurines. She's everybody's waifu.
Think of the body pillows. Will somebody think of the body pillows?
I mean, she's the representation of the Final Fantasy XIV in the Dissidia games. So
yeah, and she's fake died so many times. Like nobody will buy it. So that's why I think that they might actually go through with it, or they might super hard fake us out and be like, no, she's dead, and she'll stay dead through like the end of the first MSQ, and then she'll come back in like a later patch. To be like, oh, you thought We're gonna be like, damn it, Square. Did I do 3? I mean, I did like kind of 3. Garaha half and Y'shtola half. But that I'm like, are they gonna kill off the cat people mascots? I don't know, probably not. I do think Urianger is pretty high up there, and but I also think Thancred too, because I really feel like Thancred's story is complete because his whole thing was all about Minfilia, and even Reen is kind of an extension of Minfilia, and he's not with her anymore. He like left her behind. She's growing up on her own on the first.
With her best friend, quote.
With her gal pal. Besties.
I'm going to cheat and I'm going to pick more than 3.
Go for it.
I strongly believe that this many people could very well bite it. I think that a number of people are gone when this is all said and done. Do I think Gaius is going to be gone? Yes. Do I think Thancred is going to bite it? Absolutely. But there's 3 other names that haven't been brought up yet.
Uh-oh.
The first one is the reason why Y'shtola is not going to bite it. Because the first one is Matoya.
Oh God! I did not think about that.
Matoya goes out in a blaze of glory, sacrificing herself at some key moment, and then Y'shtola becomes the new Matoya going forward.
Matoya's a scion, isn't she? I think she left the Scions ages ago. I mean, not a scion, not a Charlian.
Part of the circle.
A Charlian.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a Charlian, not a scion.
Yeah.
And since we're going back to Charlian, I feel like we're gonna at least hear mention of all the Charlians that have left.
Yeah.
Or maybe everybody comes back to be like, guys, this is serious business, bros.
But I do think that Matoya has a moment, and I think that Y'shtola kind of takes Matoya's spot. I think there was foreshadowing of that in Shadowbringers when she took the name of Master Matoya. I feel like there's something there.
There must always be a Matoya.
Y'shtola retreats to live in a cave with frogs.
She calls one of the frogs Little Son.
Oh, God.
The second character that you haven't mentioned that I think is going to eat it is a bit more of a minor character, but I still think one that's going to have an impact, and one where I think it feels right and suitable, again, going out heroically, Fordola.
I was going to say when I was, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think Fordola's arc comes to an end, and she does something that ends up saving the Scions or the Warrior of Light. But, I mean, she does the right thing. She does the heroic thing, but she ultimately meets an end in doing so.
I think that's been her plan. I think that's her retirement plan.
Right?
But as she dies, she goes, Arnvald, I'm sorry.
The last one I'm going to pick, I don't think Alphinaud's going to die, by the way. I think that's a total red herring. The last one I'm going to pick is probably the most shocking one. And really out of left field, and no one has really even said that they think this is going to happen. I think we lose Daughtaru.
No.
Not happening.
Think for a moment. They're going to break our hearts in half at some point. Of all the characters, which one would break you the most? I almost feel like Daughtaru would break everyone's the most. Everyone has favorites, right? Everyone has someone that they lean on most. But I almost think that all of us who play 14 universally would be hurt by losing Daughtaru. I feel like Daughtaru is Haurchefant taken to another level.
Oh, God.
And during the launch trailer, there is a whispered voice which sounds real close to Daughtaru, and I'm not sure if it was Daughtaru or not, but she says, let me ease your burden, you've suffered enough. And it almost sounds like it's a whispered Daughtaru. Now, I don't know the context of that. It may not be, it may be from a completely different character altogether, but it was that launch trailer and that line that made me think, wow, could they do something with Daughtaru there?
If they kill Daughtaru, I'm going to be mad at you.
If Daughtaru dies, it's my fault. Okay.
Yes.
Spoken to an existence. Nobody's been saying it because nobody wants it to even to be a thought out in the world. But you put it out there.
I have created that energy, so I guess, yeah, I'm responsible for it now. I'll have to own it if
you're-
it happens.
Miss Ishikawa, if you're listening, please don't take this as a suggestion.
I'll take my Daughtaru. She's all I have.
Hey,
JK.
and mind you, when I say this stuff, I think Daughtaru is a great character. I think she's one of the bright parts of Stormblood for me.
Absolutely.
That's really where she shines. And I mean, she has her moments, but Stormblood is really where she shines. And I hope nothing happens to her, but at the same time, I'm like, man, that they could really get us with that one.
I will be upsetty. Like, I'll be doing the MSQ while Warren's at work, and he'll just come home to like all the lights off and me just like under the blankets, just like laying absolutely still. I'll be like, oh no. Be like, they did it.
It's all Brian's fault. Damn you, Ro.
If it happens, that's what I'm gonna scream.
Oh no. Well, let's hope I don't have to apologize on the next episode or two. Speaking of which, I guess that kind of, as we're rounding the turn here and kind of wrapping up here, this expansion is really interesting for a number of reasons. And for many people who are playing Final Fantasy XIV just recently, over the past several months, whether you were a WoW refugee or you just got recommended to it by someone, whatever your reason for starting Final Fantasy XIV, for a lot of us, Endwalker marks the first expansion where we have the opportunity to start with everyone else on the ground floor, where no one knows at the very beginning what's going to happen, and where there's going to be a lot of talk about this stuff, and where everyone's going to be going kind of at their own speeds, and some people are going to be blazing through this, and other people are going to be taking their time and savoring it like a fine wine. Man, I've set aside days off to play this, and I don't feel personally that I'm necessarily going to even be done with the MSQ by the time that my days off are done. And I kind of hope that I don't go that fast through it. Because, among other things, this is supposed to be like the biggest expansion yet. So, Shadowbringers took a minute and then some. I can only imagine how Endwalker is going to take. But, Meagan and Ward, I think you have played the longest of the four of us, so maybe you have a little bit of perspective from playing Shadowbringers from when it launched. How bad was it to avoid being spoiled, and did you care about spoilers? How did you approach Shadowbringers when it launched, and how was that all like?
I'd say for...
You leveled first, because I was kind of burnt out after... Well, we played Stormblood when it first came out, and we played it for a few months, and then we kind of dropped off. And then we came back when Shadowbringers launched, but I wasn't really obsessed with it yet.
I think we were also really behind on the MSQ, so we had like two or three patches of like post Stormblood MSQ to go through.
Because we played launch with Stormblood, and we got stuck on Raubon Extreme. Which was when they launched it, there was a cutscene you had to get into with Raubon crouching behind a bush, but it would only let one person in at a time.
It's a duty,
duty.
There's one with Raubon, and then what was really killer is that like 2 or 3 quests later, there's another one with Pippin.
Yeah.
So it's like Raubon Extreme and Pippin Savage. Of just like the duty servers would not stay up.
Yeah. So even if you got in, you could get kicked out. So after having that at the launch, I was like, I'll take it slow. And Ward got through it faster than me. So I was talking about how he was watching me do the Yulmore questline, and I can't remember why I trailed off in the middle at some point, and then I came back, and then that's when all the Yulmore stuff happened, and then I was like on board from that point on. But I don't know. I think that there are definitely big reveals, but generally, even if you get spoiled for them, they're still exciting, is how I feel.
Were
Like,
you running into a situation when Stormblood or when Shadowbringers first launched? Some of the things I've been hearing, like from people giving advice on things things to do, is like turn off your general chat, filter this and that, don't go on social media at all. Were people actually spoiling the game in general chat and such?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But I don't know where you were there at launch.
Yeah, I think it's a much larger community now than it was then.
No, it's true.
So I think that's one thing to be wary of.
Well, also,
I think that like the first week or two, everyone's pretty understanding that like it's going to take at least a couple of weeks for most people to get through the MSQ, and so most people are pretty respectful about not wanting to spoil the MSQ for people.
Also, people will throw out spoilers that are not true. So even if you see something that you think is a spoiler in chat, there's like a 50% chance that they're just trolling. And also at the time, the big spoiler for Shadowbringers was Graha is the Crystal XR. But that had been like a theory since we very first saw the Crystal XR. Because let's be real here, that was not a great disguise.
No, I mean one of the dialogue options, and like one of the first times you meet him is like, "So, what's up, Graha to ya?"
And he's like, "I'm unfamiliar with that name." It's like, yeah, you're slick as fuck, bud. But yeah,
you're
so
not even trying to disguise your voice, dude. Come on.
So I would say don't worry about general chat. If anybody's doing spoilers, then I think that they'll probably get reported or people will gang up on them or something. But also, it's probably not even a spoiler. Like, there'll be people running around being like, "Oh, Xenos marries Y'shtola," and we're gonna be like,
"Did you see that part where Fandaniel possessed the dead body of Papa Limo? Wow, man,
that actually could happen."
That would suck.
Imagine little Papa Limo's face with those goddamn facial expressions. Jesus Christ.
Fandaniel possesses Papa Limo and kills Daughtaru.
No!
You psychopath.
Hey, I am an agent of chaos. What can I say?
How's your brain work to just put those things together? Jeez.
It would be worse with me if he possessed Wedge and then killed Daughtaru and then like unpossessed him and then he's like standing there with a little knife and he's like, "What have I done?" We like walking on it like potato murder.
I think the episode title for this one is "Protect Daughtaru at all costs."
I thought you were about to call it "Potato Murder."
No.
Oh man.
A murder of potatoes. I mean, honestly, with the way Lullafells act, you would think that would be it's a murder of Lullafells. More than 5.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what were we talking about?
Well, I mean, it just kind of as far as like your whole experiences with trying to dodge spoilers and just navigate the MSQ and not worry about being spoiled of the experience and such. One thing I do want to note is a little behind the scenes here with what I've been doing here on A Podcast Reborn is I don't have very copious show notes, but I do make an outline for the show. And this part is kind of outlined too. And I mentioned, advice for starting from ground zero for expansion launch. Protect yourself from spoilers. I even put down there, even if that means you don't listen to us for a bit, but we'll likely be doing a non-spoiler section and the spoiler section for the next couple episodes, I think. And then someone edits the show notes and says, "Embrace spoilerhood." Brandon, why do you embrace spoilerhood? Talk to me about this.
Oh boy, here we go again. If you're listening and you've ever argued with me about this, I apologize. I'm going to rehash the argument. I do not fear spoilers. I have not feared them for a long time because I don't believe that there's anything lost in learning about something before you experience it. I have always believed that there's 2 elements of what you could consider a spoiler: the knowledge of what happens and the artistry as to how it's presented to you. And I fully believe you can experience those separately and not lose anything. So if I see a movie, I'll read the plot summary beforehand and then go watch it and then be like, hell yeah, that was cool looking.
Okay, here's my argument against that. Nobody writes a story assuming you know what the story is before you read it. So when someone's creating something, they're assuming you're coming at it fresh. So if you want to see it as the creators intended it, you should go in as blind as possible. And for me personally, I don't watch movie trailers. I don't read taglines. I will even look away from like promotional posters and shit because I don't want to know anything. But also, I was a screenwriting major in college, so that's the angle I'm coming at it from, of like, the person who wrote this had to write it so that you could get all, and if you can't get all the information from the work itself, then I think it's flawed and dumb and I don't like it.
Well, yeah, I think also for you, it's that because you have a writer brain, any tiny breadcrumb is just like a gigantic red flag, where it's like, I'll walk into things being like, oh, I had no idea. This is such a surprise. You'd be like, I knew about this for hours. What are you talking about?
So I would say that...
Also, also just the fact that there is a twist is a spoiler to me, because then I will be like, oh, there's going to be a twist. Well, then let me think about what the most likely twist will be. And then I will, like 3 times out of 4, figure it out.
Yeah, and see, this is my whole problem with the whole, avoid spoilers at all costs thing. That's like part of, the consuming media culture that we have. Just you can't talk about anything anymore. Because even like the Bears of Hints, is like, oh, well, now you've ruined it for me. I'm like, I don't care anymore, because I'm like, oh, you tell me that Emmett Selk is Hades. I'm like, well, that sounds fucking awesome. I can't wait to see him transform into Hades. What's he going to look like? Is he going to look like the Hades I remember from Final Fantasy VII? Or is he going to look cooler? I want to see that.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the media you're talking about, because with a video game, it's kind of hard to ruin the experience of playing a thing, because you're actively doing it. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of cutscenes in Final Fantasy, but you're still playing it.
Yeah.
And so even if you get story spoilers, it doesn't feel as bad, because it's like, I still get to go do the thing. Whereas with a movie or like a book or something, like, you're just reading it, you're just watching it. And so like, that's the only interactivity that you get with it at all.
So I think, Brandon, I think your viewpoint is definitely valid and not wrong, okay? I would say, though, that everyone kind of takes media, I think, in different ways, and I think for some people, and I feel I fall into the group on people I'm going to describe right now, for some people, there's nothing quite like that first time something is revealed to you. And I think that when you are kept unspoiled of a moment, the moment just has more impact. It has more potential to resonate with you. For instance, the whole Warrior of Light moment from Shadowbringers, right? Had I been known in advance that there was an encounter with the OG Warrior of Light and that was a trial in Shadowbringers, would the moment have still been cool? Absolutely. Would it have had as much impact when it first happened, that very first time, and I saw, oh my fucking god, that's the Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 1? Yeah, it wouldn't have had the same impact if I had known about it in advance like that. So,
and here's my problem with that argument. It does take some time to train your brain to accept this coming separately than all at the same time.
Yeah.
But you can experience that same level of impact in 2 separate parts by knowing that the Warrior of Light is coming and then seeing it happen. Because that's exactly how I approached it. I knew that the trial of 5.3, as soon as I could find it, was like, oh, we're fighting the Warrior of Light? How the hell does that happen? This is freaking amazing. Oh my god, that looks exactly like the classic artwork. And then you see it's like, oh geez, Elidibus is like really, really more complicated than any of us thought.
and
everyone tells me that there's something lost if you don't experience the knowledge and the artistry at the same time. And yet no one has ever been able to articulate what exactly it is to me. That's my whole problem with this argument. Now, let me be clear about one thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to throw spoilers at you. I am not going to be the one who's going to be like, I'm going to tell you that freaking, Daughtaru is the one who's going to die. Dear God.
I've already done that for everyone. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I'm not going to be the one to tell you that if it actually does happen, oh, hey, Ro, you were freaking right. The level 77 quest, prepare to have your heart torn out. I'm not going to do
77, wow.
I understand. Or did I say 77? I meant 87. Jeez.
I'm predicting it in 83. Are you kidding?
No.
Yeah, probably. Now, I understand that not everyone agrees with me on this, and I'm not going to go throw spoilers at you to prove you wrong, so to speak. I just want that out there.
Okay.
This is my personal philosophy. I'm going to seek out spoilers as soon as I can if I'm not actively playing the game. But I'm telling you, nobody can ruin anything for me anymore. Because like if you tell me, oh, Thancred, doesn't die, but his fight with freaking Ranjit is epic, I'm like, that sounds fucking awesome. I can't wait to play it.
The thing is, I don't think anything is ruined by knowing spoilers. I think that you get more the experience that the creators intended if you're not spoiled, which as a creator myself, like someone who writes and does comics and stuff like that, I have this like respect for the craft and this respect for the other creators' vision and the fact that they would want me to experience this moment for the first time as they wrote it, like for the first time, because you can't write a story thinking what kind of spoilers people are going to have when they go in, and like that would be a crappy way to write a story anyway. And yeah, I don't know. Also, it just puts me more in the head of the main character because the main character is experiencing these things for the first time, and I'm experiencing these things for the first time. So it helps me synergize with the point of view of the story. That's why I like to avoid spoilers.
And that's entirely fair. I mean,
and there's nothing.
I definitely understand the whole respect the creator and how they would want you to see it. Even if I say, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but no, thank you.
Well, that's the thing. You're free to do whatever you want, babe.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's the thing I want to emphasize here. I have nothing against people who are in Brandon's camp. I have nothing against people who are spoiler hunters, who want to find out the stuff ahead of time. If you play World of Warcraft, you got that crap all the frickin' time because the PTR just rained it down upon you. One of the reasons why I like Final Fantasy XIV so much is because there is no PTR and the opportunities for that are fewer and far between.
I can definitely understand the spoiler avoidance fatigue because it can be intense, especially if you're like trying to avoid spoilers for a popular movie or like a Netflix show. Jesus Christ. Someone's gonna mainline that straight into their eyeballs and then run to Twitter being like, did you know the guy was also the guy? Oh, mind blown. You're gonna be like, God damn it.
Hawkeye dies in episode 2.
Yeah. I was so shocked when blah, blah, blah dies. Yeah. But, also I'm really big into like Mike Flanagan shows and like Korean crazy shows, which are all about like twists and turns and craziness. But yeah. No, I can understand just being like, fuck it. You guys want to spoil me, spoil me. You can't touch me anymore.
Yeah, and yeah, that's just what I want to say. If you are a spoiler hunter, that is totally fine. There is nothing wrong with that. Just my only encouragement is that if you are a spoiler hunter, don't be a spoiler sharer unless you are with fellow spoiler hunters who know just as much spoilers as you have hunted.
Exactly. I mean, I hunt spoilers down, but I'm not going to be a dick about it.
Yeah.
I will encourage you to embrace my point of view because I consider it valid, but I'm not going to force it on you.
Sure. All right. Well, this is the longest episode that we've had so far, but I totally expected this to go an hour and a half. That happens when you get one extra person and when you have a lot to talk about before the launch of a new expansion. So consider this a little extra bonus length to help you pass the time as you're waiting for the queue. I'm dreading that queue boss so hard. I mean, all this time that I requested off, I'm wondering just how much of it am I actually going to be playing the game.
It's going to be bad, and especially, well, our mains are on Gilgamesh, which is a very populated server.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not looking forward. I'm going to be playing Animal Crossing in the queue. I'll be like, goodbye, my village.
I've got Hearthstone on standby.
I gotta find something to play on my phone while I'm waiting because I don't have anything right now.
Ward,
thank you very much for joining us. I know
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
I know it was a lot of effort to get you to get on the show. A lot of hoops that had to be jumped through, and a whole lot of.
I cleared up my schedule.
Yeah.
We were able to make things work. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
And your other half is so understanding of that too. Kudos to her.
Cleared up his nap schedule.
We do this with everyone else, so I might as well do it with you, Ward. If people want to talk to you about XIV or whatever and whatnot, are you on and about social media and all? How can people chat with you?
Oh, no.
He's not really a social media guy.
Oh, no. Sorry.
He technically has a Twitter, but I don't think you've checked it.
I'm not sure if I know the login for it anymore.
Oh, no.
I think I actually remember the Twitter account. That is,
I remember the Twitter account, but I don't remember if I know the login, and I don't think I've changed my info on it since I was a member of Warcraft Trolls. So I think, or Meagan and Wardcraft, that was, oh no.
Yeah, this is the team that creates Meagan and Wardcraft.
The last post was 4 years ago?
Oh, 2017.
Yeah.
And it's pictures of butterscotch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to hear more of Ward and chat with him, you just need to listen to future episodes of this show, because I would not be
catch
surprised.
A couple snores, yeah.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if you hear Ward on future episodes, whether it's him snoring or him joining us for the chat. So.
Or just hear him in the background being like, "Butterscotch, no!"
Yeah, right. Well, thank you again for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. Meagan, how can people be in touch with you?
I'm on Twitter at CatMomMeagan, and from there I have a link to my Tumblr, and you can email me at meaganreborn@gmail.com, and that's pretty much it for the moment. Right. I might have something coming down the pipes.
Ooh, nice. How about you, Brandon?
You can find me on Twitter at TheBMat, same username for Tumblr, and on my Twitter account you can find links to all the cool stuff I do, including a Dungeons & Dragons podcast where Ro tries to murder me every week. It's called Plus 5 to Hit.
Plus 5 to Hit's a lot of fun. There's a new episode that just went up the other day, like a number of hours ago from recording this podcast, so I have a lot of fun being the DM with that, so absolutely check out Plus 5 to Hit if you can. You can follow myself on Twitter at ROWCR, that's RHOWCR. You can find this show on Twitter at A Podcast Reborn. You can email us at apodcastreborn@gmail.com. I am checking that email every other day. None of you have been brave enough to send an email yet. I challenge you to send an email. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know who your waifu and husbando picks are. Let us know who you think is going to bite the bullet before the end of 6.0. I would love to talk all about that, so do send us your emails at podcastreborn@gmail.com. The theme for our show, which you are probably starting to hear right about now, is Alex Moukala and HuskyBytheGeek's Imagine Boss theme for Endwalker. Do check out Alex's YouTube channel for more great music. I, as always, include a link to it in the show notes for this podcast. Of course, that music, any other derivatives of FF14 music you hear on this show belongs to Square Enix. No copyright infringement is intended. That's it. We are hours away from smashing our faces against the login queue. Are you all ready?
No. Yes. I don't know. Someone help me.
I'm ready to see tomorrow one more time. Hopefully not the last time.
I want to play New Summoner.
Oh yeah, that's what I want for sure. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to trip over my own feet.
For Meagan, Brandon, Ward, and of course Butterscotch, this is Brian Black, folks. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. After all, tomorrow is never promised. Take care.
Da 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 da.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, I can't sing right now.